Well, I'm extremely worried because racism in France is certainly a latent problem. France's colonial legacy is still very strong, and successive governments have sadly made sure that immigrant communities are largely kept in housing projects on the edge of major cities, for example. So the secular republic is officially colorblind, but there is absolutely no doubt that ethnic minorities have always suffered discrimination in everything from education to jobs, and indeed housing. And what the Taubira outrageous incident shows is that in fact, non-white skin or foreign surname continue to be a huge impediment to acceptance and indeed progress within France.
And how seriously should we take that little bit that we heard there? How many people are we talking about? What sort of people are these? Usual suspects of racists that you'll find in any country, or were you surprised to see the kind of people who are engaging in that particular catcalling?
Well, in this particular case, it was a proud group of middle-class school children with their parents who baited the black justice minister. So it's a middle-class white
middle class, yeah.
Indeed, but racism in France is much more deep-seated than that, and in fact, it levitates right up the social scale into seemingly respectable provincial families, like the ones involved in the Angers incident, even into the heart of President François Hollande's nominally left-wing government, and that's why the current socialist government, for example, is making a very clear statement that Roma communities cannot integrate in modern France and should be deported. That's a sign that racism, pervades and indeed permeates all classes within French society.
Right. I suppose it's interesting that she's a prominent member who clearly attracts a lot of attention, but it's interesting that it does manifest itself in racist chanting. I wonder what the contrast is, or what you find with the contrast with the UK.
Well, the National Front revival in France has been attributed in part to the economic mismanagement of Mr. Hollande's government and more generally to the perceived corruption of the political establishment in France. And I think it's easy to blame prejudice and antisocial behavior on the recession, but I think that the roots of French racism are far deeper than that. And unlike Britain, which has changed a lot in the past 2 or 3 decades, France retains a uniquely Gallic form of casual and indeed institutional racism. pervades